Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We have the pleasure of sitting down with Justin Madubuike, fresh off his new 4-year extension. Congratulations, Justin.
Appreciate you, man.
So one thing I wanted to start with, when you got drafted, we saw the videos, a great video of you and just showing the emotions with your family at that moment. And you just told reporters that also the emotions just came flooding when you signed this contract. Can you compare, contrast, what are those moments like when you get drafted versus when you sign a deal like that, a life-changing deal?
There's somewhere, I think, when you get drafted, you're just thankful that, the wait is over. But then when you sign that deal, you're just flooded with gratitude and just grateful that you had a great year, you came out healthy, and now you can provide for your family and just continue your family name. And that just made me emotional as well. Call my dad. He was very proud of me, and definitely when they posted the video, I watched it because when I got drafted, I didn't watch the video as much. I was like, I don't like to watch myself cry. Like, I'm trying to get to work. But after I signed the deal, I watched it really thoroughly. Watched it from start to finish, and I started crying almost like the way I cried in the video because it's very, it's a lot of hard work, man. A lot of self-belief, and some people not believing in you, some people is believing in you, but you have to believe in yourself. Just in anything in life. So for it to come into fruition and just to be here in real time, I'm just very thankful.
Well, so, yeah. I appreciate it as a man who cries from time to time. Man, there's a touch of his emotions. Sometimes, right, I appreciate it. So thank you.
I'm curious just to kind of talk a little bit more about your family, because your family was there in that video on draft day. 100%. You have family here with you here today. Yes, you talked about calling your dad. It's clear to me, and just knowing you and talking to you, that family is something that is really important to you. Sure. So sharing that moment with them, how significant was that?
It was super significant. For me, family is everything. Even in this building, we break it down family on three, one, two, three family, just in the sense of just togetherness, support system, having your back. My dad has always been there from the beginning, my mom as well, my uncle, and I'm just very, very thankful to make them proud.
When you sign a contract like this and you get to deliver that good news, and you call your dad and you think about your mom and your dad and your uncle and just all the support that they've provided, do you kind of think about all of that, kind of the work and the support that they've provided to you to help you get to that moment, and this is kind of the culmination of that? Yeah,
for sure, I do. When I was growing up, my mom and my dad, especially my mom, was like hard work. We came to this country with not much, and we found a way to make a way for you and to support you well and your siblings. So you need to keep pushing that forward and keep working hard in anything that you do. So your kids can see that and keep it going. So it's just a beautiful thing, sure.
Yeah, I wanted to explore that a little more too. You're the son of Nigerian immigrants, and like you said, they didn't have a whole lot when they started out here. Sure. How much does that add? Can you talk about that backstory, how that shaped you, I guess, and how much that adds to the gratification of providing this deal, not just for yourself, but for your family and everybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My mom and dad, they came here, in 95 to New Jersey. They had my older brother, Jason, in New Jersey, 96, felt that, they need to expand in terms of opportunities and stuff. So we moved to Texas. They had me and my sister. In McKinney, that was when there was not a lot of houses being built. There's a lot of land everywhere. Now it's just flooded. It's hard to find a house. So it just comes from humble beginnings, just hard work and just having that mindset of just keep moving forward, keep being the best at what you do, and good things will come to that. My mom always said as well, to us, alongside of that, with hard work, be a good person. Be a good person to people. It helps in terms of just new opportunities and new doors coming for you in terms of character, and blend with hard work and being a good character. A lot of great things can happen in your life. So yeah,
that's awesome. So you get this deal done. Was there ever a doubt? Did you just feel like I was going to be a Baltimore Raven? Obviously, they put the franchise tag on you, but did you feel like a long-term deal was going to get done all along? What was your mindset through this process?
Yeah, even throughout the season, Eric was talking about he wanted to get an extension with me, and I knew I was going to be a Raven. I just didn't know when it was going to be official. I'm very, very thankful that it happened now. So now I can just celebrate this with my family, just get back to work, because we have a season coming up and we have a lot of things to show people that we are still the top dogs, even though we came up short. And I'm just thankful, man. I'm just happy it's done, and I can just continue to just keep growing as a player and as a person.
Well, when you register 13 sacks, I think everybody knew you were going to get paid, right? that was obvious. I was so impressed last year just with your attitude towards the whole thing, right? Sure. You were just like, you know what? That's going to take care of itself. I'm going to focus on playing football, and gosh, you reap the rewards. Sure. But as you're doing it, you have to know, hey man, every one of these sacks, every one of these plays, like I'm making some money for myself, right? Like, right. How did you kind of balance those things? I just
it's so funny, when I'll get a sack in the game, I'll go on the sideline, like Malik Harrison will be like, he'll scratch off my shoulder, like that's another mill or something like that, and I'll just be like, bro, get out of my face, bro. We're trying to win this game, But just in the sense of just your teammates, they're showing that they're very, very happy for you, and they see your hard work and they see the success. But at the whole time, it wasn't about the money and stuff like that. It was just about just being great on that field and just being a good person off the field, being a great teammate. And I just knew that if you just keep doing that, everything's gonna work itself out, and it did.
Yeah, so. It wasn't impressive just the way that you handled that, because I think that some guys don't necessarily handle that pressure well. I mean, it's challenging. You basically have this huge contract potentially looming over you. Mm-hmm. It's a life-changing amount of money and all of that. Yeah. And your ability to block it out. Last time you were on the podcast, we talked about that a little bit, and you talked about just being able to block that out.
Right.
It wasn't hard?
It wasn't easy.
Okay.
But I feel like having strong faith in yourself and just strong faith in just the situation that you're in, just taking it one day at a time, I felt like that really helped me stay focused and stay consistent in terms of just not letting it be something that's lingering in my mind. Because, fans, your teammates, family, they're all talking about, oh, contract. Yeah. I mean, it's all in my ear. But, I didn't let that be the focus point. The focus point was just being a good person, working hard, and just staying consistent. And I knew if I just focused on those three things, just keep it like a spinning wheel turning one day at a time, I knew everything else was going to work itself out.
Can you talk a little bit about, you talked after that loss to the Bengals in the playoffs and how that really motivated you last offseason. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the work that you put in this past offseason and how you did kind of notch that up to another level, and even how you plan to take it this offseason and beyond?
For sure. After that Bengals loss, me and Zach dapped up and said, you already know you're about to go crazy next year. I can feel it. And, I gave myself like maybe a month and some change and a half to just like chill. If I want to go visit places, see my family, go tour, go see cities I haven't seen, whatever, shop. Vice versa, I got all that done.
You can do more shopping now.
Yeah,
now it's different stores.
Yeah, for sure. But literally after that, I was like, every day I'm going to do something that's going to pour into me being great this upcoming season. Like every day, if it's an off day, I'm stretching, I'm doing some yoga, I'm doing some type of recovery. If it's work day, I'm busting my butt working early in the morning. I'm writing. I wrote down notes. Staying consistent. Holding myself to that high standard. I was like, if nobody's gonna do it for me, I gotta do it for myself. I'm a grown man out here. It's a grown man's league. It's a man's league. There's just no room for excuses. I just really held myself to that standard. Super strict. Try to just keep flying straight. And just staying consistent for I told myself like 200 days, man. 200 days of just saying in consistency and discipline jail almost, Mm-hmm. And it worked out. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna keep that formula for sure. Yeah.
I think what's exciting about you is, you had a fantastic season last year. Obviously, led all defensive linemen with sacks, but I still see. I feel like you can even take it to another level. Like you have that ability, you have that work ethic, you have the mindset, you have all that it takes to be the best defensive tackle in the game. And there's some other great ones, right? Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, those kind of guys. Like you're in that class. 100%. You know what I mean? Like, do you look at it like, I feel like I'm just kind of scratching the surface. Like there is a lot more. Like, how do you look at that?
I look at it like I even look on film of this past season, and there's things that I could have done better, and things that I'm like, why did I even do that? I'm like, and obviously I'm going to work on that and getting off that block quicker, because I feel like I could have had even more sacks. So, just keep pushing towards hitting that pinnacle of greatness, like one day at a time. I feel like my best ball is yet to come. And it's a very exciting time.
You said You said in your press conference multiple times, like, I'm just hungry.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a lot of times people get the contract and then that hunger can fade a little bit because they're motivated by that.
Right.
But it doesn't seem to me that like that's ever been the main motivation. You know, like your motivation is like being a great player and living up to your potential and working hard. So how does that talk to me about that mentality of being hungry right now, even after getting this big payday? You're over here talking about how you want to get back to work.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that my dad, he raised me, you know, just to never be complacent, never be content, keep working and keep striving to be the best that you can be, despite the success that you've had and despite the things that you've accumulated towards of your success and accolades and stuff like that. Just to stay hungry, because at the end of the day, when you're not hungry and it just shows, you know, you're gonna feel a way about that. You know, you're gonna be like, oh, I used to be great, now I'm not anymore. Like, oh, what was me? Like, nah, stay on that steadfast pace that you're at. Just pace yourself. You know, there's times that, you know, you're not gonna feel like doing it, but you know, you got to find a way to muster that out of you and get it and get it going, because if you don't, somebody else will. So why not you? Just that will to be great, you know. I have that, and I think I got it from my family for sure.
Yeah, I since the Ravens drafted you back in 2020, the comparisons, play style, body type to Aaron Donald have existed. You know, I know
when
you guys
trained with him.
Yeah, you guys have worked together and you know him, and I know we've talked about how you kind of look at aspects of his game and how you can take things from it and learn from him and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think even after a game this year, maybe the 49ers game, you know, Lamar called you baby Aaron Donald after you had a big day. And now you get this contract and you're in that kind of category in terms of production and contract. And what does that mean to you?
It just means that they're after me now, you know, and you know, I take that, you know, in the sense of a challenge, and I love being challenged. I feel like it keeps me sharp, it keeps me flying straight, it keeps me focused, and you know, when you're it's better to be the top dog than you know, everybody talks about that underdog mentality, but you know, I have to see it's what it is now, and it's like top dog now. They're going to be scheming and planning, you know, to stop me and stuff like that, and I see that as a challenge to like, hey man, if you don't come with your best foot forward, you're going to be embarrassed. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to embarrass them, you know, because they think I'm just a one hit wonder, whatever. I'm like, nah, I put in this work for years, and I see that kind of like is a little bit disrespectful. So that adds to my fuel and my hunger. That's why I was saying that press conference, because I see it already. It's like, oh, one good year. I'm like, nah, I've been putting in this work, but it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's not for you to know. It's for you to find out. So
you're gonna be fired up right here.
That.
You gotta be fired up sitting here.
For sure. I'm ready. So
how much does playing all those different positions, I think, does help with that? You know, and Zach was talking about you did that this past year. So kind of your first year playing a lot of different spots. You got sacks off the edge everywhere.
Yes,
how much does that help with being able to kind of keep offensive linemen guessing?
Oh, it helps for sure, but just being versatile throughout the whole line. You know, we can create mismatches and, you know, open it up for even other guys on D-line to be successful on one-on-ones. You know, I can bring a lot of attraction on my side, and other guys on the edge can eat, and vice versa. You know, just being a versatile player, just keep them guessing. You're staying focused, staying hungry, and I feel like those are just the key, I guess, championship traits that you can have to be a successful defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting a big-time second contract as a Ravens defender says something, right? Because of the tradition, the legacy of the Ravens defense. You know, guys like Roquan, Ray Lewis, all down the line, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, those are the guys that got those big second-year deals. What's it mean to be among that kind of company now?
T. Sizzle, Ray Lewis, all these guys. I mean, these are legendary players. To be in the same conversation as them is just, man, it's just a testament to just the hard work, the focus. Obviously, you know, man, it's just tough to put into words, man. Those are excellent players. So I'm just thankful, and just keeps me more hungry to stay up there.
Mm-hmm. See, hungry. I think it's because we're getting close to lunchtime.
I am hungry a little bit.
That's part of it. You keep talking about it. You talked about the cafeteria. Right. Started to make me hungry.
No, for sure. But yeah, those are great players, and just to be accompanied with them, it just keeps me more focused to just keep going.
Yeah, Justin, the last question I have, Eric DeCosta talked in the press conference today. He made the point that basically when you have a franchise quarterback under contract, you have to be really sure about who else you give big contracts to. Like you have to be 100% sure that this is the guy that we want to be here, because your margin for error is smaller, that he's taking up a big portion of the cap. And they basically felt like with you check all the boxes as a player and a person. Is that significant to you that like it's harder to get a second contract here than it has been in a long time, but they felt like you were a guy who was worthy of that as a player and as a person?
Yeah. Was that a question?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, does that mean something to you? Like, is that significant to you?
It's very, very, very significant to me. Very, very important to me. I don't take it lightly. It makes me want to be even just like a bigger force than I've been. It makes me want to keep growing in terms of my play on the field, and just my character off the field, and just being that example, being that leader. Good company to be around, so I'm just very thankful for sure. And yeah, man, I gotta prove the doubters wrong for sure. So yeah.
My last question is, you have to ask this after a big deal is signed, is what's the first purchase, right? How do you celebrate? That's the question.
Man, I gotta get my dad and mom something for sure.
Okay. All right. We got your dad's in the room.
Dad's smiling over there.
No spoilers. He's giving a thumbs up.
Gotta slap my uncle something too for sure. Just to be
we don't forget about you.
And just just celebrating with my family and just taking it one day at a time. It's just a great time, and just enjoying it, just taking it one day at a time, man. And I might get another watch. You have a nice watch on.
I appreciate that.
Man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you ain't hiding.
I'm waiting for my signing bonus.
Yeah, so just exciting time. My dad's excited. He's fired up. I can tell he's very, very. When he went to the Pro Bowl this year, he just enjoyed himself. I can tell he was very, very, very in a happy place. I can feel it, and that just makes me smile. It just makes me happy, and just makes me want to keep working hard.
Yeah,
awesome, man.
Hey, man.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Congrats. You're one of those guys that everybody roots for. You deserve this, man. We're really happy for you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Well, thanks to Justin for joining us here in the SeatGeek studio. I also want to give a shout out to our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. They've got a limited time offer running right now you don't want to miss. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use the promo code FLOCK. If you are a new user, you can get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. Again, the promo code is FLOCK only at DraftKings. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. You need to be at least 21 years or older and physically present in Maryland to play. So just a great conversation with Madubuike. I think that, we said it to him, and I just think that you're happy for him. I think that he's the type of guy that the Ravens felt confident investing in, player, person, total package, and it's just a great day for him and his family. Yeah, and I think it's going to be a great 4 years or beyond for Ravens fans in this organization, watching what this guy becomes. That was one of my big takeaways, was the work ethic that got him to this point that, he credits his family for instilling in him. That's not changing, right? Like, he talked about really doubling down on his efforts after that tough Bengals playoff loss. And he also talked about how tough this past year's playoff loss was in the AFC Championship. And I think that's going to fuel a guy like him to continue to work, because he knows, the Ravens know, that there's more to come for him, right? Like, he's still a player very much on the rise. And I think that's also why they were comfortable giving him this contract. It's not just about what he's done, but about kind of what he's going to become. Yeah, I think that everything I heard from him, I don't think it was just lip service in terms of the motivation piece. Like, I really think that's just how he's wired. I think that, like, there's a reason that he's gotten better every single year. There's a reason he was able to go out there and play to the level that he was with the contract thing hanging over his head without it negatively impacting him or his relationship with teammates or anything like that. And like, it's just, it is always interesting to hear the motivation for players. And he talked about it, how, I'm out to show now. I wasn't just a one-hit wonder. I see that stuff. Like, he's already basically creating the narrative of the doubters inside of his head of like who he needs to prove wrong.
Right.
Like that's like part of how he operates. And you can already see that being manufactured right now.
Yep. I thought it was also interesting to hear Eric DeCosta talk about, in this new salary cap world that they're in with Lamar Jackson's contract and all the ramifications of that contract. You have to hit on every single one of these big contracts that you give out. There can't be a swing and a miss anymore, or you're in real trouble.
Yep.
Because you just can't hand out a ton of them, as much as the Ravens would like to also give one probably to Patrick Queen.
Yeah.
That's just not the real world that they live in. And so the fact that they gave one to Justin Madubuike says even that much more, considering the circumstances that they're in salary cap wise now.
Yeah.
And, I think it's also interesting to think about how this deal went down. They've talked how they've talked about getting this deal done for a long time, but the timing of it is also interesting. Just a few days after the franchise tag, before Chris Jones signed his big deal, and you have to wonder whether that played any role in it.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting. I don't know. I thought, and I've said this before, like I thought the Chris Jones deal might have an impact on the Madubuike deal.
Exactly.
The Jones deal would come first because they didn't use the franchise tag on him, so there was a clock that was ticking on him. And then in actuality, the Madubuike deal gets done before the Jones deal. The Chris Jones deal ends up being bigger. He gets a 5-year reported $160 million contract for him. And you look at it, and if you play this thing out, I mean, Chris Jones has been great. Like, he's been one of the best players at his position, and for the first 8 years of his career. And so over the past 4 years, he's certainly been
Super Bowl winner. We've seen
he's been
his
great.
impact in those games.
So over the last 4 years, he's been a better player than Madubuike has in the course of those 4 years. But as you play this thing out over the next 4 years, I really think that Madubuike could end up being the premier defensive tackle in football, the best.
Yeah.
And then you may be feeling like this contract was a bargain. It's a big deal, reported around $100 million over the course of 4 years.
Right.
Big deal, okay? But I really feel like Madubuike is going to perform at a level that you feel that man, they got this guy at a great price if he keeps improving the way that he has.
Well, I also wonder if the price would have been any different had it come after the Chris Jones deal. I think getting it in before that deal maybe kept it at what it was. I don't know. That's just all hypothetical. I agree with your point, though, that I think ultimately Justin Madubuike is kind of the next guard of those caliber of players. He's in a different mold than Chris Jones is, certainly. Much more similar to Aaron Donald, right?
Yeah.
And those are kind of the veterans who are still really great players, but as they kind of are in the back nine of their career, Justin Madubuike is very much still in the front nine. And I think that's the next step for him, is kind of hitting that kind of production on a consistent basis like those guys have. I mean, Aaron Donald in his 5th year had 20 and a half sacks.
Yeah.
Right. Now that's darn lofty. Can Justin Madubuike hit that? I'm not going to bet against. I'm not going to say no. Right. But and then Chris Jones, just a sustained success, big time plays and big time moments, helping to win playoff games, helping to win Super Bowls. Like, that's the next level. And I think Justin Madubuike is going to get to that level. Yeah.
Like I said, I think that the feeling is that he is and will continue to be one of the best defensive tackles in the game. And I think that when you take a step back and you look at it and you say is this a guy that we want to give a contract to your point about you can't miss, you got to be really sure about the players you give 100% big time contracts to, and you feel good about the person and the way that he's improved every year. From a football standpoint, you feel really good about his ability. He has rare ability as a pass rusher, as the ability to play the run
stopper.
He can play both. He can be a 3-down player. He can get after quarterbacks. He has this quick twitch ability. You can put him right over the center. You can put him out on the edge if you want him to.
I thought that was an interesting point by Zach Orr in the press conference too, was that's kind of how he sees him continuing to get better, is because he can play so many different positions, like you see with Chris Jones and Aaron Donald. You line them up anywhere to get mismatches and just make it tougher for the O-line to key in on stopping them. That's kind of another step for him. He did it last year, and with another year of practicing at all those different positions, I think he'll be even better at that.
Yeah, so I just think it's a great move. I also think that if you have a cornerstone piece of your defense, really strong up the middle, strong on all three levels. I just think it's a great move, and I think the other benefit, it's kind of I don't think this was the driver, but it's an added benefit, is that you have some money to play with in free agency now. You freed up about $10 million in cap space by getting this deal done rather than having him play on the franchise tag. And, the reports are already out there in terms of what's happening in free agency. By the time we're done here, there could be 5 other different reports. So who knows where things go in free agency, but you have some more money to play with, and I'm sure Eric DeCosta is going to make good use of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for listening. And as always, you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. Tune in to the Ravens Press Pass podcast if you want to listen to the entire press conference with Justin Madubuike, Eric DeCosta, and Zach Orr. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with you shortly this week. I think we'll have some more podcasts this week. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely.